Happy Friday! It is Friday again. One of my favorite days of the week. I usually have self-care Friday after work. So in the evening, I usually watch my Netflix show, which right now is Falcon and Winter Soldier. And I'm excited about that. Because I had a kind of a rough week this week, emotionally and just in general. I made self-care a little early, so yesterday I got up early and I did some homework that I would have done in the evening after work, but so I did it, got it out of the way because I knew I was going out to dinner with some friends, some girlfriends of mine, and so I didn't want to have to worry about, that. And I do that periodically when I have something come up that's out of the ordinary. I like to plan ahead and get the homework out of the way so I don't have to worry about it. My anxiety kicks in when I have that stuff in the back of my mind. I can't enjoy myself. So I've learned to prepare and to take care of that ahead of time. Anyway, so I got home fairly early after that. I mean, we had a wonderful time, a wonderful dinner. And I got home, it was about 7:15. And I was going to do some reading. I had a couple of pages I could have done to go ahead in one of my subjects, but I said, you know what, I've had such a rough week and I'm kind of tired right now. I'm just going to find something on Netflix, see if there's anything on Netflix to watch. And lo and behold, the first thing that pops up, something that's new that came out, was Thunder Force. Hilarious. So is it Melissa McConaughey? I'm not sure what her last name is, and I probably mispronounced it because that's what I do. I'm terrible with names also, so I have a lot of people that I like, actors that I really, really enjoy, and then when people ask me, I'm like, oh, I don't know. You know that person? Anyway, hilarious movie. What I so needed. It uplifted my spirits, kind of got me out of that dreary. Even though it's raining today, I don't feel dreary. I feel really, really good. And went to bed and woke up this morning. Like most mornings, did not want to get up, and the excuses stopped coming into my head. I don't need to work on this. I could save it for the weekend. But took opposite action, and just because I want to do something, or I think, sometimes I just stop myself in mid-sentence and then feet on the floor, that's it, let's just do this. If you want to go back to bed after you have your cup of coffee, we'll take care of it then. So I got up and got my stuff together. I didn't go back to bed, and I don't know, I feel really, really good. What I wanted to talk about was the group that I had yesterday, or the couple of groups that I had yesterday with the clients at work. It really went well, and Fridays I usually planned my groups for the upcoming week. So today I will plan my next week's groups. So yesterday's groups were already pre-planned from the Friday before. So I love it when this happens. It just so happens that the topic of acceptance was on the agenda. And yesterday morning, so I'm registering for my fall classes. And the classes and I prepared, I planned, I knew what classes I was signing up for. And I wanted to hop on really early. I was already upset because they changed. They used to allow you to register at 6 a.m. in the morning, and I'm up early anyways, and it works out good for me. Can register and then, off to work. But now they don't open until 8, and I'm either on the road or I'm at or at work, or it's just really, really, that's a difficult time for me. It really, really sucks. But I said, you know what? I'll manage. And I was running late yesterday, so it's not like I got to work early and I was able to register for classes early. Anyway, long story short, I'm on there. The classes that I wanted for the fall are not offered in the fall, which I thought they were. I thought I remember seeing somewhere that they were, but whatever, they weren't offered. So and next year's my last year. Well, 2022, spring of 2022, I'll be graduating. So I only have a few classes that I need to take, and I have to take those specific classes. So there was only options of 2 other classes that I can take, and I'm like trying to get into them and register for them. I don't want them to fill up, and my anxiety is already getting up there because the classes that I had planned on taking are not available. And then they changed the registration process. Like the whole thing on the internet is different, and I couldn't find where to register, where to add a class. I'm freaking out, and I'm panicking because time is ticking, and as it is, I already got on there late. So my heart is racing. I'm all upset, like, ah! And of course, the more upset you get, the more mistakes you make and whatever. So finally, I was able to figure it out. I was able to do it, and in the middle of that also, when I was starting to get really, really anxious and upset, I had to remind myself, listen, it will all work out. I know that if for some reason all the classes fill up before I get to register, they have the capacity to make exceptions, and considering this is my final year and these are the classes I have to take, they might let me in anyway. So don't worry about it. It will happen. You will get what you need. And so I started feeling better. And of course, my boss came in, and I'm telling her I'm having problems getting into this. They changed it on me, and she's like, "It's all about acceptance." And I said, "Yes, you're right. I know." Deep breath. Okay. So I open up my folder for the groups that I'm going to do that day, and it's on acceptance, which I had forgotten because, like I said, I planned it the week before. How perfect. So also when we were doing the group, the first group of the day on acceptance, the topic of accepting the fact that we are who we are today, one of the clients mentioned how, she really wishes she could be the person she was several years ago. She had like 6 years clean at the time, and her life was really, really good. She really missed that person, and it did take her a while to get there, but she's frustrated because now she feels like she's starting all over again, and now she has more mental health issues on top of it, and she's struggling, and she wishes she was that person, and she's not, and acceptance around that. But it reminded me of the grieving process, right? So the grieving process, a lot of times, first we're in denial, then it can be sadness, then there's an anger, resentment, and it's not necessarily linear. So these emotions can happen, different stages at different times, and we can regress and go back. And I don't think it's ever really completed. It's more like a circle. So we can be sad at one moment, resentful, go back to sadness, go back to denial even, all this process of grieving. And so, I brought it up to her. I said, it sounds like you're grieving this person that you once were. And one of the things I've learned with grieving is that you're not that loss isn't totally gone. Like, I lost my mother a few years ago, and even though I'll never have her back, pieces of her are still inside me, right? So the memories of her are still here, and who she was as a person has been instilled in me. So it's not really completely gone. And I said, the person that you were several years ago, you still have that person inside you. Some of those traits, you might not be exactly that person again. You might not have it exactly the way you were because of life circumstances. We change and we grow. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. And you still have that person that you were. And so in saying that and having that groups, and grieving and loss can be all kinds of things. It's not necessarily a person. It can be, I know with substance abuse, a lot of times people grieve their substance of choice, right? And that can be difficult too. So like, you have that feeling like you lost your best friend because at one time that substance, it did help you. It did do its job. It helped you to cope. It helped you to manage some intense emotions, or what have you. And then, of course, it gets to the point, if you have an addiction, if you have the disorder, it backfires. It stops working, and then it works in the opposite, and it ends up ruining your life. So a lot of times people grieve that period of when that substance really worked for them and they want to go back there, and they chase that if it happens. So accepting the fact that, it's not going to be like that. And things have changed and you are who you are today. But it doesn't mean you have to lose your core essence of who you are. And so there's a loss of that. There's a loss of what you were like before your mental health kind of inflamed. People that deal with depression, anxiety, or even borderline personality disorder or schizophrenia. Sometimes they have that loss of the person that they were before their illness, their mental illness really flamed up. And so all this grieving process, and I can so identify myself, and I didn't bring this up in group because it's my own personal stuff, and I try to keep that boundary there. I do give examples of my life, my past life to help illustrate and give examples to points I'm trying to make. But anyway, my personal life of my relationship that ended and the grieving process, I've been going through that and handling that, has bounced back several times between denial, sadness, and anger, and like I said, it's bounced back. One day I'll be sad, the next day I'll be angry, and then I'll be in denial, and then yada yada yada, all this stuff, and just accepting that I'm at where I'm at. And sometimes we just have to go through these emotions. There's no quick fix. There's no skill that's going to alleviate that part of your journey that you need to go through, and there's reasons why we need to go through that and process that information, so that we can learn and grow and become better people, and maybe even help somebody else in the future. So all this was really, really helpful, and the clients were speaking, and they were really participating, and mentioned, like at that wrap-up group at the end of the day, how much they really enjoyed those groups and being able to express themselves and reflect and get some insight, right? So as they were speaking, a couple of them had, as they were speaking, realized that's the first time I actually thought of that, like in that way, and they were starting to put pieces together, and it was just really, really good. So as much as yesterday, much as my week and the past few weeks have been really, really crappy, and going through a lot of stuff, I think I'm on the tail end of it and coming out of it. Thank God, because it sucks while you're going through it. But I got so much out of it. I had a wonderful dinner last night with some friends and talking about the struggles I have at work, my new job. These are friends from a previous job that I had, and the struggles I'm having there, and my relationship that ended, and I got some great feedback from them, and it's really feeling good, and I'm really glad that I reached out to them to get together, and I'm really glad that, things happened the way they did yesterday. Even the struggles I had with signing up for my classes, because, I really have to take a step back and recognize what's important, and accepting that what is, and let go of that expectations. And I do that a lot. I put expectations on circumstances, I put expectations on people, and I shouldn't do that. Sometimes I put too much expectations on myself, and that's part of my perfectionism. I expect myself to be perfect, and I fall short of that, and then I get disappointed and I beat myself up. It's kind of like a vicious cycle. But anyway, the other thing that I wanted to point out as I was thinking of that, expectations, I was talking with my girlfriend last night, and I said, and she mentioned it actually first. She said, she thought her recovery was going to look so much different than it does. She thought that, she'd have some years of clean time, and she's going to, enter into healthy relationships, and she's going to have boundaries, and she's just going to know intuitively how to handle these relationships, and it's all going to be good. And it's not. She's had some toxic relationships, and I said, yeah, I really thought the same thing. I really thought that because I was setting up some boundaries in my life, at work, and personal boundaries, with my family and stuff, that I was going to enter in a relationship, and it was going to be healthy, and I was going to know. And what I found out was, I got into this relationship, I went back to my old behaviors. I just regressed, and didn't have the boundaries that I thought I was going to have, and just different things, And she's like, yeah. She's like, but what I've learned is that we don't learn to have healthy relationships by not being in a relationship. I was not in a relationship for 5 years, and I just thought I was magically going to know how to be in a healthy relationship. And she's like, no, we have to experience different relationships and to learn from them, and know, what's good and what's bad, and what to do and how to handle them. And I went, that makes so much sense. So the fact that I was in this relationship and it didn't work out is kind of a blessing, because it's getting experience in what I need to work on in a relationship, and what works and what doesn't, and looking for red flags, and what's good for me and what's not good for me. So really excited. I'm really happy that this week turned out the way it did. And even though the weather stinks, I'm feeling really good today, really positive. I hope you have a wonderful Friday. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Stay blessed. Remember to let the people that you love know that you love them. I have a sister that's back in the hospital for the 4th time. She had open heart surgery several weeks ago, and that's been challenging for her. And it's just heartbreaking, because she's so young. She's only 55. And but I gotta. So life is short. Reach out to those people that you love. Let them know that you love them. Send them that text. If it's been a while, all the more important that you need to do that. And live your life enthusiastically. That's all for today, guys. Yeah, that's all for today. Thanks. Until next time. Peace.